What happens with the Warriors and the Lakers this year that sets the stage for what comes next for those two franchises? What does the rest of the year with LeBron, let's say, and they finish in the play-in and lose and just are kind of blah, what does that mean for him in his summer? And what does whatever the Warriors who are surging, who are showing us something, where do they end up? Do they have something in them, or do they also like end up losing in the first round and end up in a weird like these are two of the prestige franchises with prestige all-time great players that are facing really uncertain futures in varying ways. What does the rest of the year dictate for them as far as what comes next?
Yeah, let's just combine it then. To answer your original question, though, I think a lot of that gets decided at the deadline. So I'm glad we pivoted off because I think those were just going to be the teams. We know who it is already, who's kind of punting. But even before the deadline, I think Houston and Utah are my answer, right? Like they kind of decided, hey, there's no need chasing 10, and let's give some minutes to our young guys. Hey, Walker Kessler. Hey, Keontae George. Hey, Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore. Like you're going to be in the real rotation again, and we're not going to, be feeding minutes to guys who are in their 30s anymore.
Can I say one Rockets thing real quick that I was thinking about when I was prepping for the show that I like sliding doors moment that I think worked out in their favor? Can you imagine if they'd actually gotten Brooke Lopez this year and like not let Sengun just blossom?
I'm still not like incredibly convinced that they would have played those two guys together as much as the amount they were paying Brooke would have made it seem like they should. I guess that's a really long sentence, but like the Steven Adams trade and some of the rumors around the guys they were pursuing that this year's deadline leads me to believe that they just really think they need a fucking awesome backup. Like I don't think they would have signed Brooke Lopez just to play 12 minutes a game. They would have had to play together somewhat. But maybe I'm just naive enough to think Sengun would have been so good that they would have been kind of slapped in the face. And like you can't really play Brooke Lopez over him once you see what he's doing. You know what I mean? Because they obviously wanted to put the ball in his hands too, right? So it's like, to me, maybe I just think his talent wins out. And it's like maybe they try that for a week and then they're like, okay, we'll pay Brooke, but this is happening one way or another. I don't know. But I hear you. Absolutely. It still remains one of the weirdest rumors of last offseason that they even wanted him.
Just what are we doing, Houston? Tillman Fertitta, you must be contained, my good sir. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say? Before I cut you off.
Well, I was gonna combine your last question with mine, which is, who is this year's late bloomer? And my answer to that is the Warriors. Last year, it was the Lakers, and then in the playoffs, they really, even went further than that, and obviously the Heat when the playoffs came around. But
yeah, they're like in their own category. They're like, who is going to be the second coming of death riding on a pale horse into town? That's the Heat. They're not a late bloomer. They're just death.
Yeah. And then you had some late fallers in terms of, I think, Brooklyn and Memphis and whatever else and the Clippers with Kawhi getting hurt and PG getting hurt. But so I think it's the Warriors this year in terms of their stock really being up. And if you were to ask me, who gets the 6th seed, for instance, I might say the Warriors. If you were to say who from the play-in could pull a Lakers or a Heat and they don't get that 6th seed, but they end up at 7 or something, I'd probably say the Warriors. I just think a lot of their indicators, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They have like the number 1 offense in the NBA over that post-Christmas stretch that I was referencing. Okay, it's 5th since Christmas. I think it's 1st since January 1st. And their defense has a long way to go. I don't know if they'll ever be able to buckle down enough to get stops consistently and get there. That's obviously kind of the inverse of what the Lakers dealt with. But to shoehorn it into answering your question, Chris, I would say, can they see enough from Kuminga, Podziemski, and maybe Moody that changes their plans?